Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Top 5 Saturdays Live with me, Chase Lee, and my co-host,
Brian Sutfield.
That's fucking right. And listen, this is a show where we look at the movies coming out on Friday, and we will pick a director, an actor, genre, what have you, and we'll make a top 5 list pertaining to a movie coming out this following or this week. And the cool thing about this show is it's live, so it's, off the cuff. I have no idea what's going to happen, and we don't know each other's lists. That's the cool thing about it. So there were some movies that came out this Friday, and it was Creed, The Good Dinosaur, and Victor Frankenstein, and we've already done top 5 Pixar movies, so it was already chosen for us. So, Brian, what is today's subject?
Boxing films in honor of Creed.
That is correct. So, we're going to do boxing films, and I'm going to let you guys know up front. I've only seen 6 boxing films in my life. So this is going to get interesting. I basically had to choose 5 out of the 6. And I'm going to make a revelation on the show today, and it's going to shock Brian so hard to his core, he may not talk to me for a long time. But what is it? And we'll get to that in just a second. So, boxing films. Before we get to our list, Brian, how you doing? How was your Black Friday Thanksgiving experience?
Well, it was fine. How was yours?
It was whatever.
Did you eat a lot of food, man?
I did, and I feel twice as fat as when I walked into my parents' house, so it's all good.
Same. Did you watch any football?
Yeah, we watched the Cowboys game, the team that represents my state and is getting their ass kicked every single season. So that's always nice and lovely. Actually, it's really cool because at least the Texans are doing better than they are. So at least we have 2 teams to work off of, but the Dallas Cowboys are making us look shitty. So as a state, in general. So yeah, it was a pretty good weekend. But yeah, this was an amazing weekend for movies. I just got back from a double feature of The Good Dinosaur and Creed. And if you guys want to know my full thoughts on both of those, tune in for the episode of my podcast tomorrow. So we will have our top 5 list, and we'll go over honorable mentions and movies that we disliked. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So before we get into our list, Brian, have you seen a lot of boxing films?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so his list is going to be a little bit more diverse than mine. I have no choice on my list. So do you like sports movies in general?
Yes.
I do too. I think football and boxing movies are actually my favorite. I do like baseball movies periodically. Besides She's the Man, I don't think I've ever seen a soccer movie, which is very sad. And then hockey movies, The Mighty Ducks, Miracles. So guys, sports movies are like some of the best movies ever because they are all about courage and determination and finishing your fucking goal and fighting to the end and never giving up. Fantastic stories to be told. Just the strength of the human spirit, man. It's fucking awesome. And boxing movies are just like that. So Brian always starts every single week. So Brian, what is your number 5 favorite boxing film of all time?
Number 5, I'm going with an Oscar-winning film. Could it be a Best Picture winner, a director, an actor, script, what have you? I'm going with $1 Million Baby.
Okay.
Love it. Clint Eastwood directed it. And then it had him, Hilary Swank, and Morgan Freeman. Hilary Swank won the Best Actress Oscar for this. Morgan Freeman won the Supporting Actor, and Clint Eastwood won Director, and the film won Best Picture. This is an excellent, heartbreaking, engaging drama. Clint Eastwood owns this gym. Hilary Swank wants to be a fighter, and Morgan Freeman is one of the employees at this gym. If you've seen the movie, he specifically says numerous times, "I don't train girls," and it's an engaging father-daughter type of thing because she never really had a father figure, her character, and when she meets Clint Eastwood, they bond a friendship, and it's like a family thing, and it's honestly beautiful. The movie makes me cry. The last 30 minutes of this movie are extremely goosebumps. Feel the goosebumps. But the boxing scenes are very well done. There's not as many as there are in like other boxing films that we'll talk about later on. But this is a boxing film, and it's one of the best we've ever had. It deserved the Best Picture Oscar. All the awards it got were deserving. Clint Eastwood was nominated for Best Actor, but he lost that Oscar to Jamie Foxx for Ray. I don't think he would have won anyway. So, I mean, it's cool that he was nominated, but overall, $1 Million Baby is a great film. But if you guys have not seen it, just be prepared for the last 30 minutes because they are intense. Like, it's really, really just hardcore dramatic. It breaks my heart every single time I watch it. Great film, $1 Million Baby, my number 5.
Yeah, that's a pretty good pick. Before I move on to my number 5, I forgot to let you guys know I have a board right here, so I keep track of what Brian says, and I'll reveal our list in full at the very end. Yeah, $1 Million Baby, that's a good choice. I guess I'll have to move on. So my number 5 is a film, 2010, to where I was introduced to this director for the very first time, and that would be The Fighter. Now, I forgot it was a boxing film, like, for the longest time. And when I was looking at the list of boxing films, and I was like, oh, that is a boxing film. I was like, I have seen that one. So there you go. It's not really Mark Wahlberg's story. It's more of a Christian Bale's story. And it's a really interesting boxing film because it's more of like a brother relationship type of film. And it's different from any other boxing film I've ever seen, to where it's very close knit, it's very family oriented, and it's more drama based. It's kind of like $1 Million Baby, where it doesn't focus on the fighting; it focuses on the fighting within themselves and within the family. So I like it. I mean, like I said, I've only seen 6 boxing movies. Cut me some slack, but I do like The Fighter quite a lot, and that was my introduction to David O. Russell, who has done Silver Linings Playbook. Awesome. And then American Hustle, whatever. And then Joy's coming out, and that actually looks pretty good. So thank you, The Fighter, for being a pretty good movie and introduced me to good old David O. Russell. So that is my number 5 pick, is The Fighter. So Brian, would you like to comment or move on?
Move on.
Oh, look at that. It's on his list too. All right. So Brian, what is your number 4?
Number 4 goes to Creed.
Wow. Oh, okay.
Like he said, I don't want to talk about it because I might be on the show on Sunday. But if you guys want to know my thoughts, you guys could go watch my review on my channel right now. So okay. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say. Okay, just really briefly though, you're a fan of the Rocky franchise, right? So you don't have to say anything else, but just, was this a good continuation of the franchise? Absolutely. Oh. And it stands on its own too. That's the great thing about this movie. Yeah, no, I agree. I'll move on. We can talk vague about it, but in terms of going into more detail and stuff, Brian may or may not be on my podcast on Sunday, so check that out for in-depth reviews of Creed. My number 4 is $1 Million Baby. It was one of the first Clint Eastwood movies I ever saw, directed by him. And I really liked it. I really liked Hilary Swank's role in it. I love the fact that she is a woman and she's toying with this old grumpy racist man where she's going to basically show him up. Like, basically it's his character in Gran Torino. She's in a boxing movie. And I just like the fact that she never gave up, and she always she prevailed, and she just was always super strong and super independent. And Brian's right. The last, 20, 30 minutes or so, they're pretty heartbreaking. And it's got one of the most depressing endings to a boxing film. It does. Well, at least out of the ones I've seen. But it does have a very emotional punch, but you can definitely tell, even though Clint Eastwood's character is not all with it, and being her trainer and her friend and stuff, you can really tell at the very end that he really does care about her, and that is the nice character arc from him. So yeah, $1 Million Baby, and it's also got some really good cinematography. It's very crisp, very clean. I love the lighting in it too. I actually used $1 Million Baby for one of my lighting classes in film school, and I explained a lot of shots using film theory and stuff. I do like the way it was lit. So there's a lot of religious shots in there in terms of like the light coming from above, and it's like, oh, that's Jesus. Jesus is talking to you. He's saying box more.
No, that's not what he said. But no, yeah, $1 Million Baby is a very good one for me, and it's one of my favorite Clint Eastwood directed movies. It is. I do like Gran Torino a lot. Unforgiven's really cool. Brian, what else has he done? Oh, he did Hereafter, Gross, J. Edgar, never saw it, and Jersey Boys, never saw it.
Jersey Boy and American Sniper.
Oh yeah. Well, I guess out of all those, American Sniper is not that bad. I still dislike it, but it's not as bad as like his lower ones. Whatever. Okay. So, what is your number 3?
I'm going with The Fighter. The Fighter.
Okay.
I love this film. It's one of my favorite films of the decade so far. I really love this film a lot. I love all the performances. Mark Wahlberg, Christian Bale, Amy Adams, Melissa Leo. I'm still upset that Mark Wahlberg was not nominated for this film. Every time I think about Mark Wahlberg, I'm like, why was he not nominated for this? Everyone did a great job, but him not being nominated, and Amy Adams being nominated, no. Amy Adams, in my opinion, gave the weakest performance out of them 4, but she was still excellent nonetheless. What I like about it, like you said, it's the brothers, like it's Dickie and Mickey, and it's their heartbreaking relationship. Like Dickie is the drug addict. He does a lot of drugs, like terrible ones, crack, heroin. Like it's not. And then when he recovers, Mickey basically doesn't want him anymore, and he's like, I'm tired of what you've done. You ruined everything. I understand you were trying to help me, but you didn't, honestly. It's a beautiful story. David O. Russell did a great job. This is my personal favorite David O. Russell film, even though I think Silver Linings Playbook might be the best film he's made out of this trilogy, or now it's going to be called a quadrilogy because of Joy. So, but yeah, The Fighter has great boxing sequences. I love the story. I love the soundtrack. And I just love all the performances. Everyone did a great job, but Christian Bale, in my opinion, gave the best performance. I think as of right now, that's one. That and J.K. Simmons, they're currently competing for my favorite supporting actor performances of this decade, like Oscar-winning performances, but I think J.K. Simmons gave the better performance. But overall, The Fighter is an amazing film. Check it out. Some people may say it's overrated. I don't think it's overrated at all. I think it deserves all the praise it's gotten. I think it's a great film. It's perfect 100%. I love The Fighter. Check it out if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, no, I remember when
they have accents. They have Boston accents, which always gets me happy. It always makes me happy.
Yeah, because Brian's from the Northeast and I'm from the South, so I don't know what Boston culture is like. No, I remember when I saw it for the first time, and I was just blown away by Christian Bale's performance and stuff. Because that fucking guy, man, like he is transformative. Look at The Machinist and look at Batman. It's like this motherfucker goes through.
Exactly. He played Batman. When I saw this film, I had no clue that he was Batman because I wasn't really well-rounded with it. Around the time I got well-rounded with everything, but I didn't know that was Batman. When my dad told me that was Batman, I'm like, that's Batman? What the hell? He's amazing.
Like, isn't it crazy?
And then that night, he won the Oscar because I saw the day of the Oscars.
Yeah,
which was really cool.
It's crazy because The Dark Knight was in 2008. The Fighter was in 2010, and The Dark Knight Rises was in 2012. So I don't know what he did with his workout regimen, but he's in shape for the Batman trilogy, but then he lost all that fucking weight for The Fighter. So the guy's incredible. He will dedicate himself to whatever the fuck is thrown at him. Yeah, The Fighter is very good. All right. Here's where things get a little sticky. And here's where Brian might question our friendship, but you know what? In our 20-plus episodes doing this, I got to admit something. Out of all the Rocky movies, I've only seen one of them in full. And it's not the first one. It's not the second one. It's not the third one. It's not the fourth one. And it's not the fifth one. My first ever Rocky film is Rocky Balboa, and that is my number 6 or my number 3. Let me explain myself. And when I get to my second choice, you'll realize why I put it on there. I have never seen any of them in full, but I've seen clips, and I do know all the characters. I do know all the montages and what makes fun of them. Like, I've seen like all the Saturday Night Live skits and stuff. I just have never seen a Rocky movie in full. So I jumped into Rocky Balboa. I think it came out when I was working at the movie theater. And I watched it, And you got to keep in mind, never seen the originals, but I do know the characters and stuff. I jumped into a franchise when Rocky was old, explaining his stories to a younger audience and stuff. That to me actually is kind of cool because it actually shrouds the mystery for me because I don't know what those films are. So when he's talking about it, it's almost like a campfire story. It's almost like that folklore of like that random creature that you hear about, like Bigfoot or whatever. It's like a story that you would hear around a campfire. And that's what's cool about Rocky Balboa for me, because that was my first introduction to him. And I love the fact that he is old school going versus new school in the movie, and he shows him up, and it's like, I love that shit. I love the fact that the Italian Stallion went up against a younger guy in the movie, and he showed everyone that it doesn't matter how old you are, okay? Like, if you have that fight, you will win. And I do like Rocky Balboa a lot. Well, by default, because it's the only one I've seen. So that's why it's my number 3. I just love the fact that he is this old guy who's almost given up on life, and he wants to try to regain his title again. And like I said, I've never seen the originals, so I'm pretty much exposed to him in terms of folklore. I like it. It's a pretty good one. So Brian, when I tell you this news, does it kind of shock you, or is it kind of like one of those things where you want to punch me right now?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Of the later, but I mean...
It's okay.
Well, whatevs. At least you've seen a Rocky film, that's the thing.
How would... Like, the tone of your voice makes it seem like...
I'm currently crying. Inside, I'm crying.
I know you are. So could you please explain to the audience and myself, like, what you're feeling right now?
I'm heartbroken, honestly. I am. Like, I understand if you haven't seen every single one in the franchise. That's totally understandable. But the fact that you never saw the first one fully, it just makes me upset.
Mm-hmm. I've seen clips.
One of the greatest films ever. Won Best Picture. I thought maybe he would have seen it, but he sadly didn't.
Yeah, I listen, guys. I've seen clips of it. I've seen, and Brian just dropped a baby. I've seen clips of it, and I know the characters. I know Adrian. I know Paulie. I know all that stuff. I just have never seen the movie. Now, like I said, I kind of don't want to right now, and I'll explain myself in a little bit. I kind of don't want to, at least for a while. But that's why I haven't seen them, is because I jumped into his later years, so I kind of feel like I need to finish this storyline before I go back. Like I said, I'll explain myself when I get to number 2. So, Brian, what is your number 2?
Raging Bull.
Okay. Can you explain to the audience why is that so low?
So low. It's my number 2.
That's a little too low for me. All right,
oh God, whatever. Raging Bull, Martin Scorsese.
Everyone, Brian is really pissed right now. Like, he doesn't even know what.
Look at my hair. Do you not?
I know you're angry. It's okay. We're having a very calm conversation, a very adult conversation right now. All right, so yeah, go ahead and describe Raging Bull to the peeps out there.
Raging Bull, Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, Martin Scorsese. Oh. You know, I feel like everyone has said everything. We talked about this on our Robert De Niro episode. I mean, shot in black and white, 1980. De Niro won the Oscar for this. The film honestly should have won Best Picture. I think it should have won that award. It's considered one of Martin Scorsese's best. A lot of people may consider this his best film. I think it's my number 4. It's in my top 5. It's in my top 5. But the boxing scenes are gruesome. They're intense. They're dirty. They're raw. That's how boxing scenes are meant to be. And when you have them portrayed in this hardcore R-rated film, it's handled beautifully. The actual drama that goes on outside the boxing scenes is beautiful and heartbreaking. De Niro is haunted in this film. I mean, we talked about this. We talked about how he was physically fit, and then all of a sudden he was like so incredibly fat. It's insane. I mean, one of the biggest weight transformations, I think, in any film ever. I mean, it must have been very difficult for De Niro because it took I think 2 months to lose all that weight. Like that's not easy weight to lose. That he gained like 60 pounds for this movie, and then I think he lost like 30. So like it's crazy. It's crazy, but it's a great film. I think everyone has said everything they need to say. If you want to listen to what I have to say about it, watch our De Niro episode because I explain more about it, about how he portrays Jake LaMotta so terrifically. It's fantastic. It's honestly great. And I was just watching Copland earlier today, which is amazing with Sylvester Stallone and De Niro, and the wife from the movie was in it, and it was really cool seeing her. So yeah, Raging Bull, excellent film. One of Scorsese's best, one of De Niro's best, and easily one of the best boxing films we've ever had.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'll talk about it in just a minute. My number 2, gotta go with Creed. Now here's why. Just like I said, I jumped into this franchise with old Rocky. And what I like about Creed is, once again, just like in Balboa, he talks about his stories. And so what's cool to me is when he's telling these stories to Apollo Creed's son Adonis, my mind starts working, and it's like, I know those movies exist, and I could watch them at any point in my life, but I choose not to because I do like the whole kind of mystery behind it. I do like the fact that he just talks about it, and you can see the emotion in his face. And you can see Rocky's eyes. You can see it in his face, and you can see that dread and all the wins he got, all the losses he got. You could see it in a look, and I love that. I love not knowing what the old movies are like because I can see it fully in his face. Creed's a great boxing film. And if you want to know my more in-depth on it, watch the podcast on Sunday. But it's a great continuation of this franchise from what people have said. I think it's a great continuation of Rocky Balboa in general because I can say that it is a continuation because I saw the previous one. I do like Michael B. Jordan a lot as Adonis Creed, and I love aging Rocky. It's fantastic. I love it. It's like one of those like myths. It's like fucking Paul Bunyan describing his stories like back in the day. It's great. I love it. So Creed is my second favorite boxing film of all time by default because I've only seen 6 of them. But I do love it. So review on the podcast. Look out for it on my YouTube channel, son. All right. I already know what Brian's number 1 is. He already knows what my number 1 is. So we're going to go and just casually discuss it. Now, Brian, why is that your number 1 movie, the movie I haven't seen yet? Why is that your favorite boxing film? Why does it speak to you?
Well, Rocky is truly one of the greatest films ever made because it was one of the first boxing films ever made, and also you have excellent drama, brilliant direction, writing, acting. You just got a compelling story to it about this guy who wants to be a fighter. He's a poor man living in Philadelphia. He doesn't really have much to him. He doesn't have a family. He has his turtles, and that's it. When he meets Adrian, he just wants to be with her. And she's very shy and scared, and she wants to be with him. Her brother, Paulie, is a maniac. His trainer, Mickey, is an asshole. Apollo Creed, this big-time boxer, wants to verse this little-known boxer, Rocky, a.k.a. the Italian Stallion. And we get 2 hours of excellent, pure cinema. Rocky is just one of my favorite films ever made. I have the entire collection on Blu-ray. I still have my playbill from the musical. Rocky is a big part of my life. It's a big part of my life. I remember seeing this film for the first time, I think, when I was a little kid. I didn't get it at the time. I watched it a little later when I was much older. Saw the 6th one in the theater. I saw the musical last year. I hate that this musical is no longer on Broadway because it was so good. And I'm not saying that just as a fan. I thought it was a really good musical, even though the songs could have been slightly better. But, man, the production design was great. But as a boxing film, the fights are amazing, like so well choreographed. And then when you watch all the other ones, like Rocky Balboa, I mean, like you said, how he goes up against the new school is just terrific. And then Creed, Oh my God, Creed is just perfect. The one shot. Spoiler, there's a one take shot. So beautiful, makes me want to cry. But Rocky is just an influential film in the sports genre. Whenever people ask you, what's your favorite sports films? You cannot exclude Rocky. You cannot say, listen, if Rocky's not like your favorite, that's totally understandable. There are a lot of superior sports films out there. But Rocky is one of those films that you always should talk about whenever you talk about a sports film. And whenever you're taking a film class, Rocky is one of the most important films we've ever had. It was one of the best films of the 70s. I mean, the film came out almost 40 years ago. Next year, it's its 40th anniversary. That's crazy. And the day that Creed came out, which was 2 days ago, was the 40th anniversary of the opening scene in Rocky. How do I know that? Because I did research. It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Rocky is a must-see for everybody. All film lovers, all people, everyone, all ages. Watch Rocky if you haven't seen it, because it's a crime if you haven't. If you haven't been able to, whatever, but you gotta watch it as soon as you can, because Rocky is one of my favorite films ever made, and it's one of the best films we've ever had, period.
Brian, I'll tell you this. I'll promise you that I will at least watch it before I die. How's that sound?
That's good, but it's also on Netflix. It's on Netflix.
Is it?
It is on Netflix.
Okay, I'm going to queue up that hoe and I'll watch it eventually. All right. Listen, I'm not anti-Rocky, guys. I do like the character a lot. I just never got a chance to watch any of the previous 5. And you got to keep in mind, my first ever Rocky experience was Rocky Balboa, and I love that movie. But I'm going to tell you this right now. Creed is my Rocky 1. I felt the history between everyone. I'm not saying this because I'm going to do it. I'm just saying this because that's how good of a movie it is. Creed is so good to where I don't even need to watch the originals because I know everything. I felt the history. I felt everything there. I felt like this storyline. As soon as Creed was done, I could not wait for Creed 2. That's great. So Creed is my Rocky, but I will watch them eventually. Just not now. My number 1 is Brian's number 2. Now, I bought Raging Bull from a guy that I went to high school with. He had like a bunch of movies on sale, and he sold each one of them for I think $5 a piece. I bought Raging Bull because I'm a huge Martin Scorsese fan. I love all of his movies. I own all of them that I want to own except for Taxi Driver. I need to fucking find that at a decent price somewhere. But Raging Bull is one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. It is fantastic. Oh my God. I saw this fucking 2 months ago, just in my living room alone. And I probably had like a bottle of booze with me to make the experience more heartbreaking. I watched it for the very first time. I was blown away. And I watched Taxi Driver this year for the first time too. So I watched 2 of Scorsese's best movies in the same year for the first time. I can never recreate that experience again. But it's like what Brian said, it's shot in black and white. It's got one of the best character transformations and character arcs I've ever seen in a character in general. This is a guy who is fit. He loves to box. He's kind of a fucking hothead. He fights with his brother all the time. It's great. And then when he hits his low point in his life, he gains all the weight, and he uses his fame from back in the day to get by in life, and no one really fucking likes him. And then at the very end, there's a scene where he breaks down, and you feel so bad for him. It's like, Jake LaMotta, get your fucking ass up and fix your life, son. It's just that it's so inspirational. I love Scorsese's movies in terms of writing and directing and just the way everything's shot. I love his nice long dolly takes. And then the boxing scenes, like Brian said, they are the most grounded, realistic boxing scenes you'll ever see in a film. Kind of like what Creed did with what Brian said. It's one take in terms of just grittiness and rawness, and just you can feel the punches. That's what I want to see in a fucking boxing movie. I want to see people throw a punch, get hit in the face, and you feel it as an audience member, and you go, oh God, I fucking felt that. It's exactly what Raging Bull is. All the fight scenes are beautiful. I love the fact that Scorsese went the black and white route, because it totally fits with this movie. It fits with the tone. It fits with the story. Fits with its characters. It is one of the best films ever made. Raging Bull is my favorite boxing film. Like I said, it's by default because I've only seen 6 of them. So that is our list, guys, for boxing films. Check out this shit. We have them all in common except for one. That's pretty awesome. So listen, guys, I will get to the Rocky series. I know people are going to probably blow up in the comment section. That's okay. I still love you. So yeah, that is our list, guys. So we're going to get into some honorable mentions. I've only got one. And I'm going to say it once and I'll say it again. I have vouched for this movie ever since I saw it in July. I really do like Southpaw. Quite a bit, actually. And I don't know why everyone gives it so much hate, because I'm going to throw some knowledge at you guys. People bitch about the cliches in the movie. What the fuck do you think Rocky is? What do you think Creed is? Mostly all sports films have the cliches in there, son. They all do, especially boxing movies. They are typically all the same story. It's a guy down on his luck. He wants to fight, and he's going to fight to be the best. They have a climax fight at the end, and he's either going to win or lose. That's it. But you know what's great about those types of stories? If they're told right and they're told correctly, they will feel powerful. And I really did enjoy Southpaw, because just like Creed and just like Rocky Balboa, I was cheering at the end, man. I was like, you fucking get him, Billy Hope. You fucking get him. And Jake Gyllenhaal completely dominates that role. So I do like Southpaw a lot. I do have some issues with some of the story that felt a little forced and didn't really feel organic, unlike a Creed or like a Rocky Balboa, where it feels like everything is in its place, everything feels correct, and everything does not feel forced. It feels natural and organic. So I do like Southpaw a lot. I gave that bitch an A, and I stand by what I said. I actually really like it. Is it in my top 10 of the year? No, but I do like it quite a lot. So that's my only honorable mention. So guess what, guys? Now you know every single boxing film that I've ever seen. It's those 6. So, Brian, what are some of the ones that just barely skipped your list?
Well, to agree with you on Southpaw, Southpaw is a very good film because it is. It's phenomenal.
Yeah. You know what's really funny about the Eminem soundtrack? And a little fun fact for you guys. Brian already knows this, but if you don't know this, congratulations. You know a little film nugget. Eminem was actually supposed to play Billy Hope in Southpaw, but no, he just stuck to the soundtrack. They got Jake. Jake Gyllenhaal is great, so I mean, are you gonna really say no to that? But yeah, I actually know some people that didn't like the Eminem songs in the movie because it felt a little jarring. I get that, but at the same time, when his songs played throughout the movie, because Phenomenal played during one of Billy's last like training scenes before he got to the big fight. I was like, "You fucking get him, yeah!" So
do you think this song will get nominated for best original song?
Ooh, good question.
I mean, he is an Oscar winner.
Oh, I know he is. I don't know. I'm gonna say maybe. I'll put a maybe on that. I'm not really too sure yet, but I'm gonna say maybe. But yeah, I really enjoy Southpaw quite a lot.
Other ones: Cinderella Man, an underrated Ron Howard, Russell Crowe bar flick. Ollie's a good one. I don't think it's amazing like everyone praises it, but Will Smith is really excellent in the film. I can't really think of any other ones right now as we speak. I mean, yeah, the Rocky films. I'm just gonna say this right now. I don't really have a worst. Rocky 5 sucks. It's like an abomination, but I wouldn't really consider that to be the worst. I think that's an easy movie to target because of how bad it is. I don't think that's a fair movie to kind of mock and stuff. I think it's a little too much. The Hurricane's a good one. Denzel. Yeah, that's honestly it. And you know, I was looking this up, and I kind of wish this was a boxing film. I wish Warrior was considered a boxing film because I would so put that in my top 5 because that's an amazing film. But it's MMA or UFC. It's one of those. I think it's MMA, so that doesn't count as boxing. So yeah, that's it.
UFC is the group that is formed with these fighters. MMA is the style. So they fight in MMA style, mixed martial arts, but it's they're a part of the UFC. Yeah, no, that does not count because that is not boxing. But I guess this is I never asked this question on this show before, but is there a boxing film that you haven't seen that you want to check out?
Not really.
For me, it's definitely Rocky, and I'm actually really curious about the Hurricane. I've never seen that one before, but I remember we talked about that a while back, and because I was on Brian's podcast, The Films Of, and we did Denzel Washington. Never seen the Hurricane, but I kind of want to because I like me some Denzel and I like me some boxing movies. So,
and you never saw Cinderella Man either.
No, but that wait. So, anyways, yeah, that will do it for this week, guys. It's kind of a quiet, somber episode. Very quick episode. Boxing movies, like I said, haven't really seen much, so I had only what I had to go off of. Brian really likes some stuff. So my question is, you guys, what is your favorite boxing film of all time? Comment in the place right up on my face and let me know. Yeah, so that's this week's. So Brian, as usual, we'll introduce next week's topic. Brian, what are we discussing next week?
Next week in our Krampus, we're going to be talking about our PG-13 horror films.
Krampus! Yeah, I'm actually really excited to see or do this list because, listen, does a rating dictate a good movie? No, but PG-13 horror films are very, very hard to find that are actually good. Most of them are remakes or they're watered down and they're just bullshit. I'm going to try to pick the 5 best ones in my opinion. Brian's going to try to pick the 5 best ones in his opinion. It's going to be an interesting list because this could go either way, man. I have no idea what the fuck Brian's taste in the horror film.
I have an idea of what your top 2 are. I know one particular film is in your top 2, and it's gonna be something that I might not be happy about. But you're one of the few people I'm like, okay, it's fine that he likes it, but everyone else that likes it, no, because they overpraise it way too much. Because that's the only movie that they ever saw.
Well, I think the only reason that you're okay with it is because I can actually back it up and tell you why I like it as a lover.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, yeah, I think Brian has an idea of what. Yeah, I think he nailed it on the head. He's already got 2 of them pinned down, but I have no idea what Brian's gonna pick. So,
no, you don't.
No, I don't. Yeah, so that will do it for this week's episode, guys, of Top 5 Saturdays Live. Brian, where can the people find you online?
Twitter at BrianSut98 and on YouTube at Brian Sutfield.
All right, so we'll see you guys next week for in honor of Krampus. PG-13 horror films. It's going to be interesting. I can't wait to gush about 2 of them because Brian already knows what 2 of them are. So we'll see you guys next week for another episode of Top 5 Saturdays Live. I'm Chase Lee.
I'm Brian Sutfield.
That's fucking right. Next week, guys, Krampus. Get your PG-13 horror film on. Let's play the outro music, which is done by my friends band Fervent Roze here in Dallas. Check out their music in the link in the description below. If you want to follow me on Twitter and all that jazz, everything's in that description box. Go with it at you will. Let's play it out. Wrap it up, son. Oh, man. Rocky Avenue, shot 5. I can't do it. Sylvester Stallone, man. All right, we'll see you guys later.